Yeah, we're live. Hello,
Good
hello.
morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning. Yay, here we are, Truth Bombs in Coffee, episode 3.
3.
Episode
Yay.
3 with Cornelia, Stephanie, and Brook
Dr.
Sheehan,
Brook.
Dr.
Mhm.
Brook.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're here to talk about all things truth related, that
Yes.
topics and things that we're passionate about.
Yep.
We want to offer a different point of view, right?
Yep.
And basically, we always say, how would you handle it? How would you handle it? Because we want to open it up to the audience to receive another perspective,
Mhm.
receive permission and another point
Mhm.
of view, and also look within their own life and see how would they handle it, because everyone has everything they need inside.
Yep. Very true. Our bodies are more intelligent than we can ever understand. No amount of science, no amount of research, nothing will ever compare to what is happening inside of us every single second, every single minute of every single day. And while we've had, massive leaps in medical, treatments and interventions and all these things to help save lives, like we've also, can do things to be detrimental. And so these are the things that Cornelia and I want to speak about today, some of them, in terms of the fact that we can tip the needle too far. We can definitely, change the physiology that's happening in the body. We can do things, to harm ourselves. One of my big principles that, I stand on, and Cornelia knows this, is that health is very unique to every single individual. And just because even a health food or a health supplement or a high quality supplement is, touted as being great for you, doesn't mean it's right for you.
Yeah,
And
it's
so that
not
goes with
it's
health
not a
stuff and medical stuff.
yeah, it's not a
Yeah,
one size fits all. Everything is unique and individual, right?
absolutely.
As you are the person, unique, and it's not a one size fits all. As we don't have the same size that
Right.
we're wearing, right?
Yep.
It's unique and
Yep.
individual, and I think what it all comes down to, in the end, it comes down to your own values,
Mhm.
what you stand for, what your principles are, what you value, and how you relate to those values.
Mhm.
And basically, your own ecology, your own autonomy,
Mhm.
right? Uh,
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's what I feel like it's coming down to, and listening and knowing that your body, because that's this is one of the reasons why you and I are so connected, because you're uh, teaching and educating about the body, and you're called the body whisperer.
Yeah.
I love that. And so the body whispers to us, and are we listening? And
Mhm.
the thing about it is, like with the work that I've done in my own life, in my own evolution, and that is to heal the trauma of the past that had been stored in my body on an emotional level. So that has been my work over the last decade of my own evolution and my own awakening, and the work that I do. So from healing the trauma of the past that was stored in the physical body, the emotional core wounds,
Right.
and all of that. There's a lot of work to it, but also claiming back our power,
Mm.
our sovereign power, claiming back our power, and that was established in my own life with on an individual journey, where I would always look at, what's my internal guidance
Mhm.
in comparison to what the outside world is saying to be and do. And so,
Absolutely.
right, that's basically how it unfolded for me,
Right.
and claiming back my power, and claiming back, like, what's my internal guidance saying. And so
Mhm.
then, now for me, it's been established. I know where I stand, and I know, what my beliefs are, and I stand for that. In the face of adversity, in the face of all of the challenges, and I'm
Right.
not going to give my power away to outside sources telling me that, well, this is what I must do because I listen to source.
Right.
That's who my power goes to, my God.
Right.
I listen to that consciousness, and that's where I'm guided. And so that's where my direction comes from. And so what do you want to say about that, Brooke? Dr. Brooke?
First off, so Cornelia, just shared a lot about, her emotional healing and the journey. And then, and as her physician, and I don't think that she minds me saying this, but I've looked at her from a physical standpoint and all of her lab work. Her lab work is a reflection of that emotional, energetic, spiritual healing that she went through because it correlates together, right? Health foundationally is physical, spiritual, emotional, and mental. And you cannot have one leg without another. You have to strengthen all four of that. And so speaking about, the autonomy and having, wisdom from source energy, God, whatever you want to call it, there is this truth that we all carry within ourselves. And if we learn to listen, and that's the biggest thing I'm always talking about, always sharing, always talking to patients about, potential patients, everything, is you have to truly listen to yourself within. You have to listen to that wisdom. Cornelia was listening to that wisdom many, many years ago when she went on this healing journey. So coming to this quote unquote fork in the road that we're at today, with a lot of information coming at us, with one side of the story being completely smashed and demolished, and another side being projected and shown in high regard, a lot of people find that they're starting to stumble in their truth. And one of the things that I did want to talk about is, it's been really heavy on my heart over this past week, being in the office with patients who have stood foundationally in their truth, that they are not going to alter their own innate DNA, their own innate, intelligence, anything in their body. They're not going to adulterate that. And then, they've been pressured by outside circumstances, outside people, and they start to falter on that belief. They start to falter on that foundation. And it's so heartbreaking to see. And, it's not my place. And, Cornelia and I, from the very first episode of Truth Bombs and Coffee, have always said, this is our truth. This is not us trying to shove our truth down your throats. This is not us trying to say, this is what you need to do. Not at all. We've always been here taking this time, just sharing with you the other side of the story, the other narrative, the things that you may not see, in hopes that you stand foundationally in your truth, whatever that is. And if we can be a source of like comfort and power, and, you can borrow our courage, then great. Let us be that source of courage for you. But, when I see patients making these decisions based on the fact that, they're not able to keep their jobs, or, family members pressuring them, I really, my heart goes out to them. And all I can do in that moment in time, is really say, okay, like, what do we need to do to support your body through this process? Because right now something is going to happen. How can we best support it so that there aren't as negative effects as there can be? There's going to be collateral damage. Hands down, there's always going to be. You shift anything in the DNA makeup of your body, there will be collateral damage. But how do we lessen that load if that is the decision that you've decided to make?
Yeah.
So I know that you probably have a lot to say about what I just mentioned, Cornelia. I do, before the end of the show, I want to talk about the fact that, you are solo in your belief, in your foundational truth, and you have a lot of people in your surrounding that don't necessarily agree with your thought process. So I'd love to kind of, touch on that, because I'm in a position where I have a huge surrounding of people. My direct family is very supportive of my decision. We're all in the same boat. So we have very different stories. And I think that it'd be great for listeners to kind of hear what it looks like to be that solo piece.
Okay, that's cool. That's really That's really great that we're going to talk about that. I do want to take us back to it then in a little
Yeah.
bit. So take us back to that because I do want to talk about like when you what can a person do when
Mhm.
they have their own internal guidance and they have their own beliefs around um, you know, being like they don't want to do it or they do want to do it. Like they
Mhm.
have their own knowing what it is, right? So they have that and they know what that is. And
Mhm.
then so the thing to do is to actually ask you the person. This is the beautiful thing is to ask you the person like if they say the job and the job says, in order for you to stay working here,
Yeah.
you have to do this. You have to do this. You have to get this in order for you to stay working here. What does that do on the inside of your body when you're told that? For
Mhm.
me, so right away when I hear that, because I already know what I would do, but um, if that was me and I hadn't already cleared those emotional triggers and those traumas from an outside source telling me what I must do in order to make a living and in order to have my original divine blueprint and live here as a being on this planet, um,
Right.
right? So I already know what I would do, but what does it do for you on the inside? And are you feeling like 1,000 bullets are going off inside your body, and basically you're wanting to rebel or whatever? And if that is
Yep.
the case, then that's a clear indication of your internal guidance system telling you that's not the direction where you want to go.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
That's very clear because I want to bring it like really clear, like make it really clear for the people. Because when you're being told, uh, this is what you must do,
Yeah.
it's like your parents telling you when you were young, don't do this, right? And you're gonna don't smoke or don't drink or don't kiss that boy,
Right.
or you can't go see that boy or you can't go
Yeah.
out with that boy, and then you're like, don't tell me what to do, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That rebellious nature in us.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
rebellion. And so that's, a clear indication. So there's that. So basically, I want to ask you, the audience, right, to look within yourself without any outside input, without any
Mhm.
outside influence.
Mhm.
What would you like? What do
Mhm.
you want? What's right for you? And
Mhm.
that's, I think, the place to begin, right? And really
Mhm.
look at now. So that's what I would recommend there as far as the first place to start to really look and see if you're triggered emotionally being told what to do by this is what you have to do in order to keep your job, because this is what's happening. I'm hearing this from different conversations from people that I'm talking to, that
Yeah.
their companies or organizations are now putting it in place, and that they're afraid. So here's the thing, what's also happening at the same time, Dr. Brooke, what's also happening is that there's class action lawsuits now being, this is fantastic, being created,
Yes.
where like, because people have a constitutional right. I don't know what amendment it is or whatever, because I'm not in the labor laws and those
Mhm.
laws that were created or whatever.
Mhm.
But there is a right, that you have a right as a free being to to live and work and still abide by your principles, the autonomy
Mhm.
over your body. You have that right. So
Mhm.
there's actually lawsuits that are being filed for
Mhm.
people that they can then sign on, and that class action lawsuit is going to then be filed against those companies that are forcing the people to take this thing. And I think that's fantastic because the
It's
people standing up,
huge.
huge. And
Yes.
then can you
Yes.
imagine how awesome it is if you take the courage to then, say, yeah, I'm going to follow my own guidance, because it's not
Yep.
what Dr. Brooks saying, it's not what
Yep.
Cornelia is saying. I'm going to follow my own guidance, and I don't
Mhm.
feel like I want to do this in order to work
Mhm.
there. I don't want to do this, and I'm going to stand true because God's got my back, the
Yeah.
universe got my back,
Yeah.
source
Yeah.
has got my back. I'm feeling guided to do that, and then go from there. What do you say about that?
I One, that's huge news. That's news moving in a positive direction. we know that there are a lot of people, standing up and using their voices and making a splash in the ocean of this chaos that we're living in. And I think it's incredible and amazing and powerful. The fact that these class action lawsuits are actually, getting, like pushed through the court system and not just thrown out is a huge indicator that there is protective, forces around us that are also like helping, the situation. With that said, it's not even just jobs though that are being affected. Like people can't go and travel, or being told they can't travel without it. They're like being told that they can't get into restaurants and establishments. And if this is not concerning to you, I really want to like encourage you to go look at information, because this should be very dark and daunting. And this should be something that you look at and go, wait, what? What do you mean I can't shop at this grocery store or go to this restaurant or get this if I don't have X? Because at what point are we now throwing out HIPAA? HIPAA is, a protective act where if you have, I'm not saying anything, I'm just throwing this out. If you have an STD, you don't have to walk around your forehead saying, I have an STD under HIPAA, because HIPAA protects your health information. That's exactly why HIPAA was enacted. It's so it doesn't, nothing gets out there shared. Nowadays, now we've kind of thrown HIPAA out of the game and saying, no, now you have to show a vaccine card to say, or a vegetable card.
Vacation card.
Huh?
A vacation card.
Vacation card. You have to show a vacation card to be able to do these things. Like, you don't know my health history. You don't know Kornelia's health history. You don't know the person who did or did not, their health history. It's not about unknowing these people's health history. It's about having that sense of again, going back to it to kind of keep hitting on it, but autonomy in our body, that we're making the best choice for ourselves. And if we're making a choice for or against, we're doing it based on our internal guiding system. And that's what matters.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that feels so solid. That feels so good. That feels so honoring. And I want to, take it back to the place where you were talking about, like, how do you stand courageously in your belief system and in your honoring in, aside from other people, like
Right.
everyone is saying this and follow this and do this. And then you have your own belief system and you want to stand strong in that.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really that you totally love, honor, and trust yourself.
Absolutely.
Right? It's like
Absolutely.
you totally love, honor, and trust yourself. And more so
Yes.
to the point that you will not sell yourself out.
Right.
So big.
Right.
You won't sell yourself out for the people. And that may be people in your family. That may be people in the government. That may be your friends. That may be, other people.
Mm-hmm.
You won't sell yourself out in order to please them. The love and honoring that you have for what you stand for and what you believe in is solid.
Yes.
It's a freaking rock. Do you feel that? Do you feel that? It's like, it's a rock. It's like, no, this.
Absolutely.
And that's the foundation that you and I are talking about right now, right? So it's solid. And
right.
With that, it's an honoring that I have for myself. And now that honoring ripples out to other people that also, because when you were saying, grab our courage, grab the courage to live, and to live your best life. And that's why we're here. And so this is the part. So it's like, I'm also at the place too where if people in my life decide to do different than what I'm doing, I love them. And I love them and I accept what you're doing. For me, it's not like you have to do this or you have to do that. For me, this is what I'm doing, and I am loving and accepting myself from this unconditional place. And
Mm-hmm.
now if you decide to do something, I'm going to love you and accept you from that place. That's
Right.
your choice. You get to choose, and you get to do what you feel is right for you.
Mm-hmm.
That is the same thing that God does.
Mm-hmm.
God
Yes.
God accepts us with the choices we make. There's no judgment.
Right. Right.
There's no
I,
judgment because you mentioned it earlier. You said you talked about the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and the physical.
yeah.
Well, we're talking about harmony here. We're talking about non-judgment, and so non-attachment even. So
Right.
I can't be attached to. If you decide that you don't want me in your life because of my belief system,
Mm-hmm.
then that's a choice you have to make, and I have to be okay with it.
Right. Right. And oh my, so many things popped up in my mind as you were talking and sharing that. And it's again, we hear so much, and it's like Cornelia and I are talking about our truth, what we know to be true. We're not forcing this truth on anybody. We're making a decision, but as you were sharing that, it's like we know, you and I, how much we're walking in love. I'm working with patients every day who've decided for it. I'm working with patients every day who are standing firm in their decision against it. Either way, I love both sets of people. Just
Yeah.
like you were saying, Cornelia, you are or you're not, I still love you, but at what point, that is coming from a space of understanding everybody's not going to make this same decision. We're all different individuals. We're all different people with different walks of life, with different experiences. But it really comes down to like operating in love for humanity. Like we have witnessed the most horrific events last year, this year, you know, at some point, I mean, praying all of this like really starts to calm down. But the most horrific events and the most segregation and the most, you can't come to this family gathering unless, or you can't show up here unless. And what I really want to hammer in right now in these couple minutes is the fact that we are being sold. We are being sold a bill of goods that is a marketing plan for them. And what I mean by that is this: every single day, you turn on your TV, you watch the news. If you do that, challenging you to stay away from the TV, stay away from the news, check out some alternative sources, some other people that are talking differently about it. Caveat before I get to my point, I want to say Robert Malone, he was the inventor of the mRNA spike, or the mRNA like vaccine, vaccination, vacation, mRNA vacation. And he's very much pro vacation cards. Or not vacation cards. He's very much pro vacations, except he's now speaking out about the fact that there wasn't enough research done and there was a huge push to get the emergency authorization use and all these. And he's concerned. This is a man who stands behind that sort of medical procedure for, diseases like this, or viruses or bacteria or whatever, right? But what I was saying is, we're seeing all of this, right? We're getting all this in the news, and the marketing push that they have is cases. So you test positive, you go back home, you have some nasal congestion, you might lose sense of smell and taste, whatever, right? Everybody is experiencing it differently. But now you're added to that statistic as a case, as the elevating cases, reasons to bring back, the coverings, to reasons to shut down things, reasons to do all these kind of things, when in reality, 90 some odd percent, I'm not going to give a huge, but it's over 90% of all those people are recovering, no problem. No problem. Of all those cases you're hearing every single day, all of those people are recovering, no problem. No medical intervention, no tax to the healthcare system, no nothing. They're in their home, they're doing their proper duty quarantining, they are surviving. That is 90 some odd percentage of those people. We don't hear about the people recovering. We don't hear about the people not taxing the healthcare service or in the ICU or all that. What we do hear is the numbers in the ICU. What we do or the cases and how quote unquote full the hospitals are. But I heard a nurse, an ICU nurse, speaking out about this just this week. The percentages, they're using percentages. So if a hospital has 4 beds in an ICU unit and one person was in that bed with the vid, and then the following week, maybe 2 people were in that bed, they're looking at that as like 100% increase. So that's how they're giving you numbers, sensationalizing the numbers, making it as a fear factor. So you will take their product, you will take the thing that they've built that they're like making billions of dollars on. Now having number 3 come out, they're destined to make a lot more money, and they have no liability for anything that happens. Because the thing that you also don't hear about is people having adverse reactions to the vacation that they decided to take and now are taxing the healthcare system. So they were fine. They didn't have any symptoms. They weren't taxing the healthcare system. Now they are, because now their, heart is having problems, or they're experiencing, all sorts of other neurological concerns. That is like, I don't even know what to say, like, other than like, honestly, like I plead with you guys, with the viewers, if you're on the fence and making it, like, trying to figure this out, really, like, reach out. Kornelia and I can send you so much information if you're willing to just take a look at a different perspective, because what you're hearing is very sensationalized marketing to get you to do B. So they're pushing A to get you to do B.
Let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Do you have time to stay a little longer today?
Yeah, I could stay about like 10, 15 minutes beyond our 30 minutes.
Good.
Yeah.
It's okay
Yeah.
for me too. So,
Okay, great.
because there's, I just feel like this is really good, and I don't want to close the show right now. And
Yeah,
I you have time if we can stay a few more minutes.
absolutely.
Good, good. Yeah, I think, this is all good information of what you shared. I think that if you, the listener, is interested in resources and information, then reach out to either one of us,
Mhm.
and we will give you more things that you can look at, and information that you can empower yourself with. The thing about what you shared, Brooke, is
Mhm.
that the media marketing of what they're doing out there, it's they're keeping the separation going and keeping the division going, and that has been all part of our old world, third dimensional patriarchal society of the separation, of keeping all of that going, keeping people separated based on their skin color, that if you're not this color, or if you're not if you're this, or if you've got this, if you've got this, or if you always keeping that separation going, when that is the wrong way to go. And when that's being promoted and marketed, we know that that consciousness is not of the new earth. So,
Right.
because in truth, that there is no separation. We've played that paradigm for the last 46,000 years. We have been
Mhm.
living everything that we are not. And,
Mhm.
coming at it from a place of not being good enough, not being worthy, not being, living our truth, are living in our superpowers, living in our healing abilities, that the body has the ability to self regenerate and self heal.
Yeah.
Not we've been living we've been living that paradigm out for a long time, and now in this new era, in this new Aquarian age, in this new fifth dimensional consciousness, in this new earth, we are living and being everything that we are, and we're
Mhm.
magnificent. We're magnificent. The body is magnificent. We're magnificent healers and extraordinary geniuses that can do so many wonderful things, but we have to first claim that and live that and have the courage and all of that, right? So
Amen. Yeah.
when they're narrating, you know, the separation, and you can't come here to this restaurant and have a meal if you don't have that, I wouldn't want to sit there.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I'm not going to bring you my money. Why would I? You know, hello. I just like when, you know, this was also another interesting. These are the truth bombs. You can see the passion behind all of this, but you know, when last year, when it was announced, you know, where it was announced that this virus was released and came out of China, one of the things that I started doing, you know, immediately from that time period, I thought, I really want to support local people. I really want to
Yeah.
support local. So I started looking at labels and looking at where things were made. And that's when I said, I'm only going to be purchasing, you know, from the locals. I'm going to be really taking a look at, I want to bring the income and support the vendors and the people of where I'm in alignment with.
Yeah.
And so I stopped purchasing from China.
Yeah.
I mean, just I like, hey, it matters to me. So instead of buying this, and it was very cheap made over here, I went ahead and I purchased it from a local artist, or just to be conscious and aware of where I'm bringing my money, where I'm being a patron of this particular organization or this system, that I'm conscious that, yeah. And so the same thing now is that where I'm going to go, where I'm going to be, it's going to be where I'm welcomed.
Absolutely.
Where I'm welcomed and where I'm honored and where I'm treated with respect. Why? Because that's how I feel about myself. That's how I feel about myself. And so people are actually really fortunate to be in my environment because of the energy. You know what I'm saying? That's like unapologetic.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's that concept of voting with your dollar, right? Like, so many people don't think that they have the ability to invoke change, but where we spend our money, just like what Kornelia was mentioning, it's important. We are voting with our dollar. We are saying, I support this group, or I support this person because I'm dedicating resources to that area. So yes, of course you can invoke change in the simplest ways, you know, and yes, like going to places where you're wanted. Absolutely. You know, and thank God for businesses and people that are standing up against everything that's happening, because just as much as those businesses are standing up and welcoming you and I into their establishment, they're also welcoming all of you viewers, whether you did or you did not, into their establishment. They are not telling you, because you have this, you can't come.
Yeah. And so all we're doing here is, you know, this is about empowerment for you to stand up for your rights, for what it is that you believe is right for you. That's what we're doing here with this conversation, right? And that, you know, if you are getting strong armed or bullied by anyone outside of yourself that's saying this is what you need to do, ask yourself, how do you feel about it? Because you know, because if you, how do you feel about it, honey? How do you feel about it? And how do you feel about it? And I tell you that if your answer comes, I don't want that. Boom. That's that's where we have to, you know, that's where we have to go, and, you know, and honor your feelings and honor where you are. And because the bottom line is if you honor yourself, what's going to happen is the universe is going to conspire and support you in so many ways, that because that's all part of I feel like on a bigger level, you know, what's playing out with all of this, it's all for the people to claim back their power, all for the people to claim back their sovereignty, their ecology, their own inner strength, and saying, no, I'm independent. I am going to stand strong in my beliefs. I know what they are. And I've been in discovery and really looking at what I believe in, and I'm going to make choices based on that.
Huge. Yes, absolutely. So many people are rising up and finding that source of courage and finding that source of strength, and our numbers are getting larger, or the numbers of people that are doing that are getting larger. I don't want to just say are. But I mean, this is what it takes, because they can continue to try to push us down, and that's what they're doing, because they're not getting the quote unquote compliance that they hoped for. So that's why you saw lotteries. That's why you saw rewards. That's why you saw all kinds of different things for doing it, because the compliance wasn't there. Now, when someone puts out a $2 billion marketing budget, or a $2 million budget to get X amount, 100% of the United States taken care of with the vacation, and $1.5 billion of that is going towards marketing, where you see billboards, bus stops, all sorts of commercials on all your favorite stations talking about it. Let that sink in. Let that really, really, like get into that nervous system and go, why is that? Because why aren't they talking about like exercising and eating healthy and decreasing sugar? I mentioned this on other episodes. If you missed those, sugar will deplete your immune system. Anytime you feel
selling sugar the way they are. I mean, it's like, on it's all, go down the grocery aisle and look at all the cereals.
Everywhere. But they want to tell you that you are doing yourself and all the people around you well by getting their product, and not telling you anything else about it, and telling you that it's safe and effective, when the research, the developer, we can link that video in the show notes of this, the developer of the technology is actually not on board with it, like the way that they've completely ran it through.
Do you have that link? Okay.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, would you later, because this video is now live on Facebook, it's now live on YouTube, would you later go to Facebook and underneath that video, put it underneath the description so it's there? Because, we're both busy and running around. I just don't want to forget to offer the resource. So it would be great to see that. But the bottom line is that we're here to share this perspective, to share the resources, to share the support, and these are choices and decisions that we're making, and that you get to decide and choose your own autonomy in your own ecology, and you get to decide what's right and what's not right for you. That's just this one part, and ask yourself, how do you feel about it? And when it comes back, because as soon as you ask, how do you feel about it? And somebody's telling you have to do something, that's where it's a key indication that, I'm getting,
Yeah, absolutely. And if you ever experience any sort of symptoms and you're concerned, you feel like you're getting, that specific thing, I am happy to help you through the process. Like we've been mentioning all along on this entire show, is you have to know that your body is more intelligent. And the reason some of those symptoms are showing up, whether it be nasal congestion or loss of sense of taste or smell and taste, those things are showing up, the lung pressure, is because the body is working to get rid of it. So it's putting all of its protective barriers, it's getting things in motion, figuring out. So it's important to put plans together that work to help you move through the process so you get through it effectively. The biggest thing I want to hammer home before we jump off is fear will completely take you down. The second you let fear creep into your mind that you're going to die or something, it's going to go horribly wrong because that's what you've been told. I'm going to tell you this right now. It will disempower you to the point that you might end up not flatline, not dead, not at all, but in a state of where you want to go to, the hospital or, all these kind of things, when in reality, you don't need that. Okay.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Brooke, I just have to add one more thing.
Yeah.
Said that. So we have to 5 more minutes. Okay, 5 more minutes. It's amazing what happens when we and we're talking about all these, because there was recently a person that I love and honor and respect that her husband and her daughter both got the, the,
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
the fact that we can't even speak loudly.
I
Hello.
know.
Clearly that we have
Yeah.
to, use
Code words and
code words. Yeah. And it's like, that should tell you something right here that, we
Mhm.
don't have freedom of speech. Anyway, so she, this is what she was dealing with in her household. So her husband and her daughter, 19-year-old, went to a festival, and
Mhm.
that's where brought it home, and then the husband
Mhm.
got it also, and all like that. So, but basically, then everyone in her community was telling her, "Oh, you have to do this, and you have to do this, and you have to do this." Just started hammering all these things that basically the fear that you just mentioned. That basically none of those things were helpful to
No.
her and her
No.
family.
No.
None of those things were helpful that were being hammered in what people were saying. So she had to cut out all of that noise.
Good.
She did it. She cut out,
Good.
we got nurtured, and the daughter went back to health. The
Yep.
husband went back to health. They, did that.
Yep.
She didn't contract it.
Right.
So she didn't,
Yeah.
but she had to cut out and protect the
Yep.
household, let all the noise go.
Yep.
Started, doing all of the things that, she
Yep.
had in her toolbox.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And so
And that is the thing.
fear, because you talked about that fear.
Absolutely, that fear. And there are resources. There are so many resources out there that you don't get to hear about. So that you need to know if they're available for you. If you have questions, all of it. Like, yeah.
So this was such a great show. This was such a great show. It's like, doesn't it feel good to have done it? Like, we
Yes.
talked about it. We said the
Yes.
things we needed to say. We honored our innate wisdom and our intelligence. We're honoring life force energy. That's what we're here to express and share with you. We love the earth. We love, our life, the life
Yep.
that we're living. And so
Yep.
that's what we're here in the midst of all of the challenges. And so
Yep.
it's all about our empowerment and moving forward. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Brooke, you have videos on YouTube that talk about how people can strengthen their immune system, right?
Yes. Yes. So on my YouTube channel, this will be posted on my YouTube channel. So if you're also watching on my channel, you just can subscribe. There's you can find the Body Talks podcast videos. I have things like when you're sneezing, what that is triggering the immune system to do. So pay attention to that. There's all sorts of different resources. Kornelia has amazing stuff on her channel. This will be posted there as well to help work through that emotional component of it. Because if you allow fear, if you allow any sort of negative emotion to take hold in your body, those physical manifestations will appear eventually. Don't let it happen.
Yeah, that's it. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in. Thank you, Dr. Brooke Sheehan. We'll see you
Yay,
next time.
Cornelia. Thank you. Yeah, fun. All right. Bye.